where we are at the minute, mate, we're just working with the club to sort of progress the work again. It was, if you can imagine, we agreed a fixed price contract with BDL, who are essentially a Romanian company, but based in the UK. The reason Ben did a deal with BDL is because they were way cheaper than anyone else. Some of the initial things were coming out at a couple of million, £1 million, and then we eventually got bogged down a lot less than that from BDL. So we're waiting to a fixed price contract. Obviously, within that fixed price contract, there might be things that do fluctuate. One of them being the ground. The ground wasn't as good as we actually thought it was. So we had to sort of move the structure away from the rec centre, because if we'd have then built right next to the rec centre, we could have compromised the structure of the rec centre if we'd have put the footings in there, just because underneath it was a little bit, the ground wasn't great, if you know what I mean. So then once building control came out, when the initial footings had all been dug out, they then said, you need to go down deeper. We weren't sure why, because obviously it's a wooden structure, there's not a massive amount of weight in it. So building control told BDL they had to go down another 0.75 of a metre, which you can imagine in terms of like the sort of like the square footage there, it was a lot. So you've got extra man hours, extra concrete, extra steel. That put around about 60 odd grand onto the bill. So that was a bit of a slap in the face, to be fair. So we were waiting to a certain budget, and then obviously something goes above and beyond that budget. Then we've got to try and find the funds to then cover that, without actually going back to the fans and saying, who've been absolutely fantastic, by the way, and going back and saying, can you give us more money? So we have realised a couple of assets that the trust had, which was a shop and a flat. Which, again, this money should be coming back in soon. But like I say, we're just trying to work with the club now to get it moving again. BDL have been really good. They've just said, yeah, we're fine. Bogdan, who's the owner of that business, he keeps coming up every week, just checking the site, just checking the security, making sure it's all okay. And obviously there's no deterioration in the structure at all. Yeah, so hopefully within the next few weeks, he'll be back on site, and then we should see it motoring forward then. Everyone's still on board. I know there's a lot of rumours about the builder, GK, everything. No, everything's fine. GK is still happily involved as our partners. They're keen to see it obviously get completed as soon as possible, just as the trust is, just as the club is. And obviously just because we want fans to experience. There's going to be an amazing structure when it's done. I mean, obviously everyone's seen the plans, but you've actually stood inside it. It is really, it does blow you away, to be fair. And I just can't wait to see it finished, because fans are just going to be made up with it. I'm proud, to be honest with you, because it's just going to be an amazing place, not just for match days, but for other days as well. Friday, Saturday, Sundays, people going there for a drink. Yeah, and the way they do things, Germancraft, I don't know if you've seen any of their other outlets across the country. I've been to a couple in London when we played Sutton last year. I got invited down to Elephant and Castle and to Mayfair, and the way they do it is just unreal. You know, we will be the envy of most clubs in the EFL, that's for sure. Just on that, I'd just like to say thanks to all the bondholders. We did. Obviously, there was bonds were paid in to help us do the structure. Bondholders, we've now sent emails to the majority of bondholders asking for a referral, because obviously there's nothing we can pay back this year because we're not open. Obviously, we're a lot later than we expected. If some bondholders haven't received the email, my apologies, because the emails were bouncing back to me because there could have been a typo when the email was taken. So my advice to those bondholders who haven't received an email about the referral, just email the trust and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
So I guess the final question I need to ask then is, do we have a time when it might be open? Do we have a time scale in mind?
We haven't. That again, it's a difficult one, to be honest with you, mate, because we haven't really got a time scale as such just yet. We're hoping that within the next couple of weeks we'll be able to come back to fans and give them a time scale. I like I say, it's no one's fault really. You know, it's just down. It was just basically purely down to the fact that, like I said, these things. It's a massive undertaking. It costs a hell of a lot of money. And these things inevitably, because they're so big, sometimes you might hit a brick wall. There was a lot of things to do with supply issues and stuff like that, you know, coming through the supply chain. Obviously, as well, you know, you look at, say, Bogdan's was fixed, but then you look at the other materials like the Gulam to put the structure up and the polycarbonate and stuff like that that goes over it. These things over the last, say, like 12 months or so have fluctuated in price because of transport costs and everything else. So yeah, it just happens with such a big project, but we will get over the line. You know, fans don't have to worry about that. It will get finished. 100%, it's going to get finished, and 100% they're going to be proud of the structure that they can call their own.